Shakam Pastimes. Hey Krishna Karuna Sino Dina Bando Chatpate Gopesha Gopka Kantarada Kantaramasti. Tapta Kanchna Galangi Radhe Vrindavana Shri Shabana Devi Pranamama Hari Vankha Kalpta Vishya Kripa Sindhu Vishya Nampavana Bhyo Pasya Bhyo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sat Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki. So this evening we will speak on Sakyaras. We have heard, or we got a glimpse of the consciousness of Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And yesterday, Srimati Radharani and the Gopis. And today we will be hearing about the coward boys, Sakyaras, and try to get a glimpse of the consciousness of these eternal associates of the Lord. A glimpse of what real love is. So I will go back in the Bhagavatam now to chapter 18 of the 10th canto. Lord Balaram slays the demon Pralamba. So we will hear about that. I have so much material that I will try to select the most attractive ones. So I will start with reading a few verses from the Bhagavatam. This is the description of the coward boys, how they play with each other. Text 9. Decorating themselves with newly grown leaves, along with peacock feathers, garlands, clusters of flower buds, and colored minerals, Balaram, Krishna, and their coward friends danced, wrestled, and sang. As Krishna danced, some of the coward boys accompanied him by singing, and others by playing flutes, hand cymbals, and buffalo horns, while others praised his dancing. O king, demigods disguised themselves as members of the coward community, and just as a dramatic dancer praises another dancer, worshipped Krishna and Balaram, who were also appearing as coward boys. Krishna and Balaram played with their coward boyfriends by whirling about, leaping, hurling, slapping, and fighting. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would pull the hair of the boys' heads. So that's what young boys do. But I want to start with, because they are dancing and wrestling, with some pastimes, more details of these pastimes, which are not in the Bhagavatam, but related scriptures. So this is Bhujan Prabhu. I'm just going to tell it as he told the pastime. One time, some of Krishna's friends, Sridham and others, opposed Krishna and Balaram, and they made movements of dancers. And they said, "Oh, my dear dancers," they said to Krishna and Balaram, "you have come so far, please, could you dance for us? You are the most expert of dancers, O wandering dancers." So they were joking with Krishna, like, you are dancers who are coming here. Please dance for us. But of course, Krishna and Balaram go along with the jokes. So understanding that the boys were playing, Krishna and Balaram said, yes, thank you so much. We have been wandering everywhere. And in our heart is a desire to dance. And with the request you are making, so sweet, we will be able to dance in the most wonderful way. So Krishna and Balaram started to dance. And the cowherd boys were just watching. And they were playing different instruments, some flutes made out of the leaves of trees, and they were playing all kinds of instruments. And then, when the beautiful and wonderful dancing of Krishna and Balaram was finished, the cowherd boys started to take off all the jewelry, the gold from around their neck, and they began to present it to these two wonderful boys. Two wonderful boys who had been dancing in such a wonderful way and giving so much pleasure. So Krishna and Balaram said, we didn't dance because they were just playing. They were playing roles. They said, we did not come here to dance and get any jewels from you, but we want a gift, another gift. And the boy said, oh, what do you want, O best of dancers? And Krishna said, we want to fight with you. So then the boys and Krishna and Balaram, they all began to fight, to pull each other, beat each other, and wrestle. So this is what boys like to do. And Krishna and Balaram were completely absorbed in the mood of cowherd boys. They forgot everything else. And yet, Krishna had delegated everything to his different parts and expansions. He empowered so many living entities. The universe didn't fall apart. It is said about Maharaj Ambarish, basically, what he was doing while ruling his kingdom is doing only his puja and his worship, his bhajan. And he would delegate all the other responsibilities of his kingdom to others, and yet it went very well because of the power of his worship. So the universe, when Krishna and Balaram were playing, did not fall apart. It just goes on with it in its own way. But Krishna and Balaram's mind became absorbed in different pastimes of playing with their friends. So after they were wrestling for a while, then everyone was laughing and everyone was so happy. And then Sridham and others said to Krishna and Balaram, this is Sridham, could you teach us how to dance? Dance in that wonderful way. So then Krishna said, yes, of course. So they gave the boys some dancing lessons. They were so pleased with their wrestling and their affection. And the boys said one verse that was very pleasing to Krishna and Balaram, glorifying Krishna and Balaram. They said, these two have such wonderful qualities, and each of their qualities is so wonderful that if it wasn't for their colors, their complexion, one could not tell the difference between the two. They are both so equal in bodily features and wonderful qualities. So Krishna was so pleased that he began them teaching dancing in a very elaborate and proper way, being able to dance to any rhythm at all. So then Krishna tested them in their skills. And then the boys did very well, and they all had learned how to dance. And in this way, they were just playing and playing and playing. People today are trying to do wonderful things, but it is not the doing that gives pleasure to the heart. It is what gives pleasure to the heart. In our relationships, what gives pleasure? Giving, serving. Yeah, it is the exchange of affection that gives pleasure to the heart. And with those exchange of affection with those with whom one is acting with. It is not the act, it's the rasa that if one is with people that one hates, nothing one does is wonderful. It's important, say for our community here, that always exchange is based on affection. Srila Prabhupada, this is a famous story by Srila Prabhupada. He told it for another reason, but it illustrates also this point. There was a person who was drinking alcohol, and then one preacher came to him and said, if you continue drinking alcohol, you are going to hell. And the person replied, oh, but also my brother he drinks. Is he also going to hell? And the reply was, yes, he's also going to hell. Even my father drinks alcohol. Is he also going to hell? The reply was, yes, he's also going to hell. So all his friends and relatives were drinkers, and he said, will they all go to hell? And he said, yes, the man replied. Then we will be all together in hell, and hell will be heaven. That will be wonderful. It's the rasa. It is the rasa that makes things sweet. So Krishna and Balaram were there, just enjoying, and we can't imagine the sweetness they were enjoying in the presence of Krishna and Balaram. In the presence of Krishna and Balaram, in unlimitedly sweet land of Vrindavana. Everyone was just enjoying. Everyone was enjoying, but except for Kim Kamsa. Kim Kamsa was very morose. Why was he morose? Why was he actually feeling depressed? He was sitting on the throne and he feels miserable. He had his hand in his head, down. He was not able to get pleasure from his position as a king, because his heart was full of fear. If our heart is full of fear, no pleasure. Not only was his heart full of fear, all of his friends, all of his demonic friends, such as Bakasur, Bhutan, Trinavarta, so many of his friends, he had sent to kill Krishna, and instead they have been killed. So it's the situation of the heart and the pleasure that the cowboys feel, and then comes a situation here. He was sitting on his throne, fixed in sadness, thinking about his impending death, soon impending death. Then suddenly another of his friends came, and his name was Pralamba. Pralamba said, why are you so depressed? What's the problem? Pralamba was very arrogant. He said, and Kamsa said, why shouldn't I be depressed? Everyone I sent to Vrindavan, all these trusted associates, friends, servants, they are all being killed by Krishna. And now my own death is approaching. Pralambasur said, what is the need to fear? I'm here. Pralamba said that. So Kamsa looked at him and said, you are a fly longing to go into the fire. Then Pralamba said, give me 3 hours, that's all I want. Kamsa did not even lift his head. He didn't even become enthusiastic. He said, do as you wish. So this Pralambasur went to where Krishna was, and he disguised himself as a cowherd boy. So, but before we go back to the story, I want to go deeper in this Sakyaras, So, I will read some quotes from Nectar of Devotion, from other scriptures, which gives us a deeper insight of the relationship of the cowherd boys with Krishna. So, you have heard about Madhumangal. Madhumangal, he was Krishna's intimate friend. And he came from the Brahman community. So one day, Madhumangal said to Krishna, my dear friend, I can see that you are not aware of the peacock feathers falling on the ground, and you are unmindful of the flower garlands offered to you. I think I can guess what's the reason of your absent-mindedness. I can see your 2 eyes flying over the eyes of Srimati Radharani, just like black drones flying to the lotus flowers. So this is an instance of argumentative suggestion in ecstatic love. So these are confidential friends of Krishna. They are called Priya Sakas. The Priya Sakas. They are almost Krishna's age. And because their very confidential friendship, their behavior is on the basis of pure friendship with Krishna. Others who are older or younger, their friendship with Krishna is mixed with paternal love, with servitude. There are 3 kinds of sakas. Someone knows these 3 kinds of sakas? No? No scholars here in Sakyaras? No. Okay. That's 3 kinds. The sakas, the Priya sakas, and the Priyanarma sakas. 3 kinds. The Priya sakas are those who are almost Krishna's age. Others are older, and they have a mixture with Vatsalya ras, and the younger have a mixture with servitude, Dasya. But those who are nearly of Krishna's age, they are pure Priya sakas. And who are these confidential friends? Sridham. Who is Sridham? Yeah, brother of Radharani. And Sudam, Dam, Vasudam, Kinkani, Stoka Krishna, Anshil, Pranyashena, Vilasi, Pundarika, Vilanka, Kalavanta. They are pure Sakyas, Priya Sakas. It's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. By their various activities in different pastimes, all these friends used to give transcendental pleasure to Krishna The behavior of these confidential friends is described by a friend of Radharani who told Radharani, here we get deeper insight, "My dear graceful Radharani, your intimate friend Krishna is also served by his intimate boyfriends. Some of them cut jokes with him in mild voices and please him very much by this. For example, Krishna had one Brahmin friend whose name was Madhumangal. This boy would joke by playing the part of a greedy Brahmin. Whenever the friends ate, he would eat more than all others, especially ladus, yes, of which he was very fond. Then after eating more ladus than everyone else, Madhumangal would still not be satisfied. And he would say to Krishna, "If you give me one more ladu, then I shall be pleased to give you my blessings, so that your friend Radharani will be very much pleased with you." So Krishna was very happy by his friend's blessings and supplied him with more and more ladus. So Madhumangal would give blessings, but he would also be a greedy Brahman and eat lots of ladus. So these things are going on in Krishna's pastimes. Further from Nectar of Devotion, sometimes a confidential friend would come before Krishna and embrace him with great affection and love. Another friend would then come up from the rear and cover Krishna's eyes with his hands. And Krishna would always feel very happy with such dealings with his confidential friends. Out of all these confidential friends, Sudam is the chief. He used to wear a yellow-colored dress. He carried a buffalo horn. His turban is reddish copper color. His body complexion was blackish, and around his neck there was a nice garland. He would always challenge Krishna in joking friendship. So who is Sridham? He is the brother of Srimad Radharani. He had a blackish complexion like Krishna. So sometimes Sridham used to address Krishna and he said, "Oh, you are so cruel. You left us alone on the bank of the Yamuna and we were all mad for not seeing you. Now it is a great fortune to see you here. If you want to pacify us, you need to embrace each of us with your arms. But believe me, my friend, a moment's absence creates great havoc, not only for us, but for the cows also. Everything becomes disarranged and we become mad after you." So sometimes Krishna disappears. He goes off with the gopis. And then the cowboys are just completely mad and in anxiety while Krishna is gone. But there are still friends of Krishna who are more confidential. They are called Priya Narma, intimate friends. They are counted among the Priya Narma friends. They are Subal, Arjun, Gandharma, Vashant, and Uchal. There were talks about the gopis and Radharani about his intimate friends. One gopi addressed Radharani, "Just see how Subal is whispering your message in Krishna's ear. How he is delivering the confidential letter from Shyamadasi silently into Krishna's hand. So he's giving with one hand a confidential message from Radharani within Krishna's ears, and with the other hand he gives a confidential letter. So Subal is giving the gopis messages to Krishna, and he is decorating Krishna with a garland prepared by Taraka. So these are Priya Narma Sankas. Further, Nectar of Devotion, chapter 41. Subal's body is described as follows. His complexion is just like molten gold. He has a garland always around his neck, wears yellow clothing, his eyes are like lotus flower petals. He's so intelligent by his talking and moral instructions. All the other friends take the highest pleasure. Let us all offer our respectful obeisance unto Krishna's friend Subal. The degree of intimacy shared by Krishna and Subal can be understood by the fact that the talks between them were so confidential that no one else could understand what they were saying. The description of Ujjval, another intimate friend, is given as follows. Ujjval always wears some garment of orange color, and the movement of his eyes are always very restless. He likes to decorate himself with all kinds of flowers. His body hue is almost like Krishna's, and on his neck there is always a necklace of pearls. He is always very dear to Krishna. Let us all worship Ujjval, the most intimate friend of Krishna. About the confidential service of Ujjval, this statement is to be found, addressed by Radharani to one of her friends. My dear friends, it is impossible for me to keep my prestige. I wanted to avoid talking to Krishna anymore, but see, there again is his friend Ujjval, coming to me with his canvassing words. His entreaties are so powerful that it's very difficult for a gopi to resist her love for Krishna, even though she may be bashful, devoted to her family duties, and most faithful to her husband. So the following is a statement by Ujjval showing his jubilant nature. And that's Ujjval to Krishna. My dear Krishna, O killer of Aghasur, you have extended your loving affair so much that you can be compared to the great ocean, which is without limitations. At the same time, the young girls of the world who are all searching after the perfect lover will become just like rivers running into this ocean. Under the circumstances, all these rivers of young girls may try to divert their courses to some other places, but at the end, they must come to you. So, there are three kinds of divisions of Krishna's friends. Some are eternally in friendship with Krishna, some are elevated demigods, and some are perfected devotees. So three kinds. That's the eternal associates that come with Krishna from the spiritual world, eternal associates. Then there are demigods who come to take part-time in Krishna's pastime. And then there are the perfected devotees, those through sadhana who came to that position. Three kinds. So hopefully we may be soon one of the third class perfected devotees. In all of these groups, there are some who by nature are fixed in Krishna's service and are always engaged in giving counsel. Some of them are very fond of joking and naturally cause Krishna to smile by their words. Some of them are by nature very simple and by their simplicity they please Lord Krishna. Some of them create wonderful situations by their activities, apparently against Krishna. Some of them are very talkative, always arguing with Krishna and creating debating and create a debating atmosphere. And some of them are very gentle and give pleasure to Krishna by their sweet words. All these friends are very intimate with Krishna, and they show expertise in their different activities. Their aim is always to please Krishna. So, Krishna, he goes herding the cows with the cowherd boys, first with the calves. That is during his Pauganda stage of life. During the Pauganda stage of life, he gives pleasure to the cowherd boys, to his sakas. And in his childhood pastimes, he gives pleasure to those in parental love, Mother Yasoda and the Damodar pastimes. And in the Kaishori age, he's dancing with the gopis. That's from the age of 10 onwards. But this is the Pauganda age. And this is a description of Krishna at the end of the Pauganda age. At the end of Krishna's Pauganda age, Krishna's hair sometimes hangs down to his hips, and sometimes it becomes scattered. In this age, his two shoulders became higher and broader, and his face is always decorated with marks of tilak. With his beautiful hair over his shoulders, it appears to be a goddess of fortune. It appears to be a goddess of fortune embracing him, and this embracing is highly relished by his friends. Subal once addressed him in this way: "My dear Keshav," this is Subal, "your round turban, the lotus flower in your hand, the vertical marks of tilak on your forehead, your kumkum-flavored musk, and all of your beautiful bodily features are defeating me today, although I'm usually stronger than you or any of our friends. Since this is so, I do not know how these features of your body can fail to defeat the pride of all the young girls of Vrindavana. Why am I so defeated by this beauty? But chance is there for those who are naturally very simple and flexible." So, mostly devotees are appreciating the Kaishora age when Krishna is with Srimati Radharani. And Krishna with Radharani is worshipped as Kishora Kishori. Krishna does not increase his age, although he is the oldest personality and has innumerable different forms. His original form is always youthful. In the pictures of Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we can see that he is youthful, although at that time he was old enough to have sons, grandsons, great-grandsons. So the cowherd boy friends of Krishna said, "Dear Krishna, you need not decorate your body with so many ornaments. Your transcendental features are themselves so beautiful that you do not require any ornamentation." At this age, whenever Krishna begins to vibrate his flute early in the morning, all of his friends immediately get up from bed just to join him in going to the pasturing grounds. Oh, imagine you wake up with hearing Krishna's flute. That must be wonderful. One of the friends said, "My dear cowherd friend, the sound of Krishna's flute from above Govardhan Hill is telling that we need not go to search him out on the bank of the Yamuna. At this age, Krishna once dressed himself exactly like Radharani, just to create fun among his friends. He put on golden earrings, and because he was blackish, he smeared the pulp of cum all over his body in order to become as fair as she. By seeing this dress, Krishna's friend Subal became very astonished. So then further talks over the games that this coward boys play. Krishna played with his intimate friends, sometimes by fighting or wrestling with their arms, sometimes by playing ball, sometimes by playing chess. Sometimes they carried one another on their shoulders. Sometimes they exhibited their expertness at whirling logs, pieces of wood. And the coward friends used to please Krishna by sitting together with him on couches or on swings, by lying together on their beds, by joking together, and by swinging in the pool. All these activities are called anubhav. Whatever all the friends would assemble in the company of Krishna, they would immediately engage in all these functions, especially in doing together, in dancing together. Regarding their wrestling, one friend once asked Krishna, "My dear friend, O killer of the Agha demon, you are very proudly wandering among your friends, trying to exhibit your arms as very strong. Is it that you are envious of me? I know that you cannot defeat me in wrestling, and I also know that you were sitting idly for a long time because you were hopeless of defeating me." Interesting talk. All of the friends were very daring and would risk any difficulty because they were confident that Krishna would help them to be victorious in all their adventures. So some of them have such a faith that when in the forest fire, Krishna said, "Just close your eyes." And they all closed their eyes, although the fire was approaching. So they used to sit together and advise one another what to do, sometimes inducing one another to be engaged in welfare work. Sometimes they would offer battle nuts to one another, decorate one another's faces with tilak, or smear pulp of chandana and on one another's bodies, sometimes for the sake of amusement. They used to decorate their faces in strange ways. Another business of the friends was that each of them wanted to defeat Krishna. Sometimes they used to snatch his clothing or snatch away the flowers from his hands. Sometimes they would try to induce another to decorate his body for him, and failing this, they were always ready to fight, challenging one another to combat in wrestling. They were some of the general activities of Krishna and his friends. Another important pastime of the friends of Krishna was that they served as messengers to and from the gopis. They introduced the gopis to Krishna and canvassed for Krishna when the gopis were in disagreement with Krishna. These friends would support Krishna's side in his presence, but when Krishna was not present, they would support the side of the gopis. In this way, sometimes supporting one side, sometimes the other. They would talk very privately with much whispering in the ears, although none of the business was very serious. The servants of Krishna were sometimes engaged in collecting flowers, decorating his body with valuable ornaments and trinkets. Trinkets, the small showy ornaments. Dancing before him, singing, helping him herd the cows, massaging his body, preparing flower garlands, and sometimes fanning the body. These were some of the primary duties of the servants of Krishna. The friends and servants of Krishna were combined together in serving him, and all of their activities were known as Anubhav. So then, this is from Krishna book. The boys played at catching ball with fruits such as bale and amalaka. They played blind man's bluff, challenging and touching one another. Sometimes they imitating the forest deer and various kinds of birds. They joked with one another by imitating croaking frogs, and they enjoyed swinging underneath the trees. Sometimes they would play amongst themselves like a king and his subjects. In this way, Balaram and Krishna, along with all their friends, played all kinds of sports and enjoyed the soothing atmosphere of Vrindavan, full of rivers, lakes, rivulets, fine trees, and excellent gardens filled with fruit and flowers. Sanatan Goswami says that all the games we know in the world, as many games as we know, they played all of them. And that is where all the games came from. In Kamyavan is a slide where they used to slide down. When we go on Vrindavan Parikram, we come there and we also slide down. Still there, that in Kamyavan. The slide is still there. Stone was made into a slide for Krishna and his cowboys friends. So this I tried to give you a good feeling and insight of what this Sakya Ras is. That interesting, like we said yesterday, there are different types of gopis. There are also different kind of coward boys. And it is said that someone asked Prabhupada, will Krishna accept us if we are only 90% pure? Prabhupada said yes. Then they said to Prabhupada, and will Krishna accept us if we are only 85% pure? Prabhupada said yes, but he would not go lower than 80%. So we must have a certain purity. If we attain that purity, we go to Krishna. But that does not mean that we are going directly to Goloka Vrindavana, the spiritual world. It means that our next birth will be spiritual, but we are first taking birth in a universe where Krishna is his pastime. And there we take part in Krishna's pastimes. And we hear Krishna's pastimes of different relationships with Krishna. We have all a specific relationship with Krishna. According to that relationship, then we will take birth. And then we will train up further to the perfection by Krishna's associates. So this is, yes. So what struck you the most in this Sakya Ras, in this relationship of the Sakas, coward boys with Krishna? Yes.
One question that came up, I'm not sure if I understood well, you say there the Sakas, the Priya Sakas and the Priya Nama Sakas. And if I understood well, it's a graduation of intimacy. Or I'm not sure I understood really the difference between those. Is it like more intimacy is going from Saka to Priya to Lama?
Different mood.
Mood?
Yeah.
Different mood.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the Priya Sakis, they are nearly Krishna's age, and they are the most intimate with Krishna. They are the most intimate with Krishna, and they have the pure Sakya ras.
Oh, yeah.
But among these Priya Sakas, there are Priya Narma Sakas, and they are very confidential, and they function as messengers between the gopis and Krishna. Then confidential things, and then of course then you have among the sakas those who are younger, not that than him, and because they are younger, there's the Sakya ras is more mixed with Dasya ras, yeah. And you have those who are older, and they have like Balaram. Also, Balaram is Vatsalya ras. He's taking care of Krishna. That is not a pure Sakya ras. That yeah. Mm. Yes.
Thank you for this presentation. I have a question about whether these rasas, so for example, does this conjugal ras, does it also contain sakya ras?
And that's a good question. Thank you. That Sakya ras means we are equals. That we are equals, and that but the Sakya ras also contains Dasya ras, because when you are a friend, you are also a servant of your friend. Otherwise, there is no real friendship. That's included, the Dasya ras in the Sakya ras. Because all these coward boys, they are serving Krishna. That's what they do. So Sakya ras is there. But then in the conjugal love contains these two also. The gopis want only to serve Krishna. And they see Krishna as their only friend. But then there is a conjugal aspect that comes on top of that. Therefore, the love of the gopis is more intense love than the parental love, because it contains also the parental love. Yeah, normally a woman takes care of the husband and vice versa. That the parental love is also included. So therefore, the conjugal ras, the Madhurya ras, is the highest, the most intense love for Krishna. And yesterday we heard also that Uddhava understood they are feeling the most acute feelings of separation of Krishna, intense separation of Krishna. That is more intense. So this graduation is there. But this is only available on Goloka Vrindavana. And it has been revealed by Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 1, verse 4. Lord Chaitanya has given what never was given before. And that is this conjugal love that was not known before. He revealed that because Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Srimad Radharani. But we can, but to enter Goloka Vrindavan, you must get the mercy of a resident of Vrindavan. But who is Lord Chaitanya? It's in the mood of Srimad Radharani. Is Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanga. It's Radha and Krishna together. It's Krishna and Radha together. So it's Krishna in the mood of Srimad Radharani, which is very merciful. So if we worship Lord Chaitanya and serve his mission, we get entrance to these higher rasas, to Goloka Vrindavan. That's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He's the most magnificent. Mm-hmm. Something else? Yes, please.
I have very poor understanding of the rasas. In which mood are the deities here our worshipped? This is Radha and Krishna. That means only Vrindavana.
That's conjugal.
Yes, it's
Conjugal. Yes, Radha and Krishna is conjugal love. That's what it means. Krishna with the gopis. That's one who is situated in this higher, who has been liberated and who is in that mood with Krishna within. He thinks always of Radha Krishna, never Krishna alone. Always on Radha Krishna. That is yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You were speaking of the three different sakas. So we have the saka, the Kriya Saka, Priyanama Saka, and then you said that they are the cover boys. They are either demigods, either eternal associate, or either perfected devotees. Yeah. So are they going to be placed according to the Saka, Priya Saka, Priyanama Saka, or they will be divided everywhere of those three categories?
I don't have that information, but for sure the Priyanama Sakas are the most pure. And probably they are all eternal associates of the Lord. They are eternal associates. To have that confidential relationship. Like Arjuna is also an eternal associate with Krishna. He travels from universe to universe. He's in that same category. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Yeah. Go ahead, Mulder.
You just said that, I want to make sure I understand it correctly. That in this conjugal ras, there's always the presence of Radharani.
Yeah. Yeah, conjugal love means in Madhurya Ras, seeing Krishna as your lover. And only the gopis see Krishna as their lover. And so the gopis or Srimad Radharani, but the gopis are expansions of Srimad Radharani also. It's going together. Mm-hmm.
So are these gopis and these other residents in Vrindavan in this conjugal rasa, are they actually there to please Srimati Radharani in their relationship with Krishna, either by directly or indirectly, in other words, either by assisting her in her relationship with him, or by directly engaging according to her instructions and serving him?
You have the left wing gopis and the right wing gopis. I think the left wing gopis are those who are with Srimad Radharani. They have a certain mode. And the right wing gopis, they are with Chandravali. They have a different mood. In Srimad Radharani, the mood of Mameti is more developed. She says, Krishna is mine. Is mine. That's Srimad Radharani. Krishna is mine. And Srimad Radharani has another mood. She says, I'm Krishna's. So it's another mood that it's difficult to understand. But they are rivals. They are never agreeing. You can read about that in the dramas written by Rupa Goswami, I think. These dramas. There you find further information on this Mathura Ras, if you hear these dramas. I forgot. There are two main dramas. I forgot the names. Any other point? Good. Thank you. I hope this was a little useful to go to these rasas and try to get a deeper insight of those who are situated in their eternal relationship with Krishna. That's what's the use for us. We get a glimpse of what's the goal. That was the purpose of the seminar, to give you a glimpse of what's the goal. And if you have felt any attraction to this rasas and this, that may help you further to inspire for this, to attain this perfection. Thank you very much. Yantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.